Hello there and welcome. In this video I got you 10 tips and tricks for the reworked feudal culture with the Ogre update. I'm going to be talking about all the things that have changed, new options, old options, things that you can synergize upon. I hope that this video gives you some food for thought for your own builds and let me know what you think. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is that the feudal culture now scales with experience harder than ever. In the original iteration, we only had one tier 1 unit that was able to promote into something better. Nowadays, we even got 2. The Aspirant Knight is compatible for the Monarchy and the Aristocracy, whereas the 2 branches get different troops. More about that in a hot minute, but this means you want your troops to gain XP. Every effect that increases XP gain on your troops is therefore very, very valuable, because at the end of the day, this is only going as fast as we can provide experience. And a little bit of another caveat, but here again, not want to go ahead of myself. So number 2 I want to talk about. Monarchy is an excellent thing for any form of evolution build. The Monarchy branch gets a trait which allows them to cancel out any upkeep of the units that ride alongside with the monarch, the leader of your current empire. This makes it so that you can completely ignore the upkeep of those freshly evolved troops. Whereas evolution does not count for troops like these. This is a promotion, not an evolution, so the evolution mechanics don't apply. You still get to ignore the unit upkeep when you're playing Monarchy. This makes them extremely compatible for elemental builds, golem builds, yeah, well, basically anything that just evolves out of XP. It's just insane. You get them for free. Usually that's one of the major holdbacks of strategies like these, that you have to pay for those tier 3 units. For the Monarchy, you don't. You even can get that into the late game and get yourself a banner of tier 5 units. Cost free. It's nice. It's really nice. Number 3, on the other side, the Aristocracy makes excellent hero builds. I sadly don't have them here online, but they get as a tier 3 unit a shield trooper, which redirects damage from a hero to themselves with 25% reduction. Use these guys to protect your heroes from harm and go for a hero-centric build. It is so much fun, it is powerful, it's fitting to the theme, and I don't know, it's one of the coolest ways to play heroes nowadays, because your liege guards really do a lot of heavy lifting for your fellas, and I don't know, it's an entirely new way of playing around with heroes that I enjoy a lot. So, number 4, Militia. I really just want to say that one word. Jokes aside, a little bit more. You have access to the spell called Militia. Feudal has that now as a standard, and you get to summon 2 spear dudes for almost no upkeep for merely 60 gold, with the only downside that it can only be spawned in a city. This is, well, one of the most crazy early game steroids that I've ever seen. It gives you the ability to just spam summon an army if some infestation wants to crawl on by, and there's not many things that you can't just delete with 2 stacks of Militia. They also allow you to invest gold into a map summoning spell, a very rare thing too. Usually you have to spend mana or other special resources, so this is really powerful. I mean, the Militia itself is not really much to write home about. They are among the most weakest troops available in the game, and they also don't evolve anymore into something better, but at the end of the day, they are still free troops. Basically free troops, 30 gold each, almost no upkeep, and they're spears, so they deal damage to large units extra too. This is a really nasty little thing, and I have that hunch that this will see a nerf. Anyways, number 5 I want to talk about. This is another thing that's very important. The feudal culture in its current iteration is very hungry for town halls. This comes with a new promotion tech that they got. So the Aspirant Knight can only be promoted into a tier 4 knight. I mean, at least we get tier 4 knights now, but you need that tier 4 town hall too. And the same goes for your archers slash leash guards. They also can only be promoted if you have a tier 3 town hall. So this makes the race for the town halls even more important than on many other races, because we can't cheese the dependencies anymore on this culture. We are forced to get the town halls, and this makes the culture a little bit more economy and gold hungry than usual, because I gotta really say, the Aspirant Knight is one of the most weak troops in your roster. Very vulnerable and needs to get to the end of their career to be transformed into some real trooper. That's really a rough way, and the dependency on the Town Hall should be something you have fulfilled before they hit champion level, ideally. Number 6. This faction has one hell of a unit enchantment synergy. If you look at their roster, repeatable attack, okay, shock trooper, but these two troops here, shock troopers also synergize with critical hits and damage increasers much better than it looks from the first glance, because they get higher increases, but they are not really the best users. But also the tier 3 unit is a repeatable attacker. These guys usually are the best users of unit enchantments, and therefore you have so many of these. You also have either very robust troops or very long-range shooting troops. So altogether, unit enchantments work gosh darn well for this culture, and I would even go as far as that they need that, because without it, your baseline damage is really not as high anymore, especially since you have lost the standard stand together thingy. Usually feudals had 20% extra damage when they stood together. That's a lost thing, but we have now different replacements for that. But altogether, unit enchantments are pretty much a must-have, or very synergistic to the very least. Number 7. A very high cavalry synergy. This is something I really love. In this side, on the Monarchy side, you have less cavalry compatibility, but even the bannermen can now have a horse. The liege guards can be mounted. You have knights which are mounted. There's so much mounted capability. Here you see the defenders could be mounted. The archers are the only people that remain on foot. But the cavalry synergy has been severely increased. I mean, we even get a tier 4 cavalry unit just as part of our regular roster. I know it's a little bit hard to achieve. I personally don't like it that we have such a rough pathing and they're so vulnerable, but it is what it is. But yeah, any form of horse trait is extremely good for this culture, because you can just apply it on many troops, and if you go for the aristocracy path, you get to even apply it to the highest tiers of your troops entirely, and the monarchs at least get it for their knights and for their tier 1 fighters. Also not bad. Mounted supporters are also always a nice thing. Anyways, number 8, farm synergy. So the feudal culture has obviously not lost anything about this. With this culture, you have a lot of innate synergy with farms. There's several tomes that help you synergize into that even harder. They are very, very good at playing around with any tome that has province improvements that thrive upon farms, which makes them very good with order and nature builds, because these are typically the two elements that interact with farms the most. So that is something that definitely forms up a build path that you can follow. You don't have to, though. It is just an option that you can go for. But this brings me directly to number 9. Expansionism is something you can play with that food income thing, because you are very good at it. I want to say with number 9 here that you are really good at playing on the expansionistic side, because you have innate capabilities of increasing city stability and innate capabilities of producing a lot of food. So that is really, really good. This means you can have wide-ranging cities, and as you see here, the monarchy side has city stability increasers built in right from the get-go, which supports bigger cities. And if I remember correctly, the aristocracy had similar buildings. What I really want to focus on is, though, city stability is an extremely important factor if you want to have stupidly large cities. Also, space them out wide enough from one another if you want to have these entirely wide-reaching cities. This is one of the things that's really, really important. But given the fact how much food you can produce with this culture, you can make really large cities happen, which is pretty cool. And a victory path. So number 10, the last thing that I want to talk about here is that I personally find that the feudal culture has kept its original weakness. They're pretty weak on their own. All of their troops are okay on their own, but they need tome support quite badly, or the support of their nobility, which also buffs them, which is also a necessity. Put them on their own, and they're really not much worth. I mean, at least our baseline archer got buffed. They sunder defenses by now, but that's it. We really don't have much on our hand. The Bannerman is really a strong side here. They have now a automatic defense buff for their people around them, but that doesn't kill anybody either. So you really have a high need on a damage increasing portion and a high need of something to work with them. Because I personally find that besides the shock troopers, there's no part of the build that works really decently on its own. And even here, the aspirant knights are very squishy. They need their level 4, but apart from that, once you put a couple of unit enchantment tomes and other things on top of it, or some synergistic troops out of the order or nature path, I gotta say the current feudals have a higher synergy with the Tome of Beasts than ever. This has been always a good thing, but this is now a much better thing. I will explore that in the future. Yeah, altogether, you have really a good synergy with all different manners of things, but don't expect to lift too much right from the get-go. This also means that your initial tome selection plays a very, very high role. I personally would recommend to pick always on the feudal some tome that increases your damage profile right off the bat. Something like the Tome of Zeal, for example. Alternatively, you could also pick Cultural Society traits to get an early supporter and go deeper into the support path. Whatever you do, you need some additions from outside to work well more than others. The High Culture has so much more innate power in itself. The Mystics have so much more lifting power on their own. The feudals still don't have that, but this is okay because their synergy is so incredibly high that this definitely pays off. You just don't get to waltz the battlefield down without preparations, which is fair. You have, at the very least, this stupid little thing which allows you to blitz troops to no end. Militia is just so strong. Yeah. Alright. I bet that there's way more to say about this whole feudal culture topic, so let me know what you think. I'm really all ears because I have experimented some, but I am absolutely sure that I haven't seen everything about it yet, so I'm all eager to hear what you guys have to say. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, consider supporting the channel via YouTube channel membership systems or given links downstairs below. A big thanks to all of you who do, and a big thanks to you for watching this video up until the very end. I deeply appreciate you taking your time, and have a good day.